Hey there, MusCle420 here, or MusCle420. You can call me MusCle420 if you want. That's my name in game. So I decided that I'm going to make a build video for each of my tanks, and they're not going to really cover gear so much because gear is like a thing. I don't do a lot of 4-man content as a tank. When I do, I typically still run my trial sets, but I do have all the sets in the game basically for a tank. Like leeching, defile, things like that. I don't. That's not the type of tank I am really, though. The type of tank I am is more of a like a 12-man tank. So I do content that is, 12-man content, trials, things like that. So these build videos aren't really going to cover what you would do in a dungeon. These build videos are going to cover tanking trials, basically. And you could even go so far as to say tanking Black Rose Prison and things like that, but or VDSA specifically. When I get to my Necro tank, that's going to be my VDSA 4-man content build first, and then I'll do my trial build, which is pretty similar. But anyway, so right now we're going to focus on the Dragon Knight tank. So like I said, these videos are going to be relatively short because I'm not really going to be covering gear. I will be covering a little bit of CP setups. Typically, I'll include a link to a spreadsheet for CP setups as far as like trials go. The only trial I don't really have a good CP setup for is Kind's Aegis, but if you go over to ESO University or something like that, you'll go ahead and find the correct CP for that. Nephis does have that covered. The reason why I decided to make these builds really is just to showcase the different classes, because I have a tank on almost every class. The only tank I don't have is a Templar tank, because I don't really see a whole lot of utility in a Templar tank, but maybe I'll make a Templar tank eventually here. I do have an extra character slot, but yeah, so like I said, first tank is going to be the Dragon Knight tank. And you'll notice right off the bat, a lot of these, there's a lot of similarities with these tanks in particular, especially for trials. So let's get into the skills here. So first skill. Now you can have these buttons differently depending on how you run your button setups or whatever on console. And yeah, these are PS4 builds. So I do run these on PC as well. But on PC I only have a Dragon Knight tank, so this will cover the PC one as well. The only thing I'm not going to cover here is add-ons. I can make a separate build for my PC build that will cover add-ons if you'd like. I could definitely do that. But so as far as my skills here, so I run Heroic Slash for the Minor Maim, which reduces their damage done by 15%. This is also, believe it or not, this is my spammable as a tank. In group tests and things like that, I do hit almost 10k DPS on my tank using Heroic Slash, and then I also use another spammable I'll show you in a minute when we get to the back bar. For my majors, I use Balance. Why Balance? Well, Balance doesn't cost a whole lot of health, really. It does cost some health, but as a tank, you don't really need to worry about that. It gives you majors and it gives you magicka back, which is good. So it increases your damage and your physical and spell damage resistance by 5,280. Now I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but let's do a little bit of math here. So 33,000 resistance is equal to 50% damage reduction, and so that's 1/6 basically of that. So I guess you could divide that by whatever, and you'd get your damage reduction, which is, it's like an extra, I don't know, 8% damage reduction, basically, for just having that up at all times, which is good. You do have to time it right. If you don't know the trial right, make sure you only pop Balance after a big heavy or something like that, and after you've healed. Make sure you time it right. You don't want to use this in the wrong time, because it'll kill you. Alright, and so for the Dragon Knight, I don't need to worry too much about the other morph for this. I do run the other morph for this on other tanks. For this, though, I use Pierced Armor. because the Dragon Knight has so many tools in its kit to make sure that the resistances are up and your damage reduction is up. You don't really need to use Ransack. So I would use Pierce Armor on a Dragon Knight. This is not a spammable. You want to taunt when your taunt is down to around 3 to 4 seconds. That's when you want to reapply taunt. That way you never over taunt. And if you're in a position where you need to swap bosses with the other tank, you can definitely do that without any issues at all. Like in VHOF triplets. What other trials? I'm trying to think of what other trials you would need to swap your boss on. Or take taunt, like VMAL first boss. If you get cursed, the other tank can take the boss. Hulk on last boss for VMAL. Just swapping that in and out. Just things like that. You don't want to over taunt. VSS last boss when you get marked. That kind of thing. VSS. I said VSS. So Veteran Sunspire. Yeah. Last boss there. Navantaz. Yeah, so you can swap the boss pretty easily and not have to worry too much about it, using, as long as you don't over taunt. So get that out of the way. Igneous Shield. This shield is probably the worst shield in the game. But what you get from it is major mending. It's like one of the only sources of major mending that's out there, really. They took that away from Templars for the most part. Templars used to be super OP healers. Now they're kind of like secondary healers, where Wardens kind of come in first place. And but the DK does have major mending, and the cool thing about it is when you use major mending, you pop this once, right when you need it, and then within 3 seconds you hit the green dragon's blood. That's kind of why I have this here. You know, boom, boom, L1, R1, and then boom. You get a huge heal. So as soon as you pop that, you pop this. It does about 37% of your missing health. However, with major mending, you could get a full heal. I've seen it crit for like 35, 40k when I'm running like Plague Doctor or something like that. Yeah, so there's that. And then my front bar ultimate is going to be Aggressive Warhorn. You want this up at all times. That Major Force 10-second thing, I don't know if that's a myth or not, because every time I pop it on PC, I only see about an 8-second countdown, typically. So I'm not sure if the 10 seconds is a bug or something like that, or if the skill is bugged, but you want this, you want to be popping this every 10 seconds at least. Sometimes it pays to have one DPS like a Sork running a Warhorn as well. Just to make sure that uptime is like 100% on console. And I know like people will disagree with me there, but go ahead and disagree with me. All I gotta say is having that up 100% does increase the DPS by a lot, like a country mile. So anyway, let's go to back bar here. We got our range taunt. This is our staff bar. We're running an ice staff. We have our range taunt. For fights like VHOF, we're gonna swap that out, and we're gonna put it both on back bar and front bar. And also in VCR, you may want to swap that out, especially when LE Drain uptime isn't a problem. You can totally use the range taunt to make sure that you're handling the boss, Zamaja or the mini. It's fine. Just run your have a healer run LE Drain on it, and then because it's a magic meta right now anyway, a Magicka meta. So you can run a range taunt and be okay in a lot of instances, to be honest, just as long as you don't have a Magicka issue. Running Blockade of Frost. This patch in particular, not many classes are going to be running 75 into Thaumaturge. Sometimes I think the Necro might, and I think that the Sork might. I'm not sure. I'm not really up on DPS this patch. But I know that Blockade of Frost is kind of where you want to be at. The off balance isn't an issue because you're not really going to have a whole lot of stam in the group, and sustain really isn't an issue this patch at all. So to be honest, I would run Blockade of Frost on every tank that you have. This is a flex spot. I have Crushing Shock currently, but what you could do is you could have Stone Giant, Protective Plate, Deep Breath, Choking Talons. You could even run Carterize if you wanted to. You could run Elemental Drain if it's needed, Circular Protection. You could slot Meditate if you really needed to. You could run Alter if your healers aren't running it. Could even run Orb for a little extra damage if you wanted to. I need to level this up, but Vigor is good. If you level up Caltrops to Razor Caltrops, that's another good one to run for an AoE Fracture for Stam groups. Purge and Guard is another one that you could run here. So this is also a flex spot. You could run all of those skills on this particular slot as well if you wanted to. So you have two slots on the back bar that are pretty much flex. So Stone Giant increases DPS for everyone. That's why I run it, which is good. There's a DPS set that's kind of like a selfish DPS set that does the same damn thing as this. It's called Dragerkin. You can get it out of Unhallowed Grave. I would recommend giving it a try, checking it out. It's really nice. It might help out in certain instances, like being a portal DPS or something like that in BCR. Anyway, this is a new DPS video. This is for tanks. And then this does not move. Chains stays on your bar. Chains is great. Chains, thing about Chains is that it's free DPS for things that can't be pulled. So if you wanted to use that as a spammable, that's fine. Gives you your magicka back 100%, and it does work as a nice spammable. It gives you Major Expedition for 4 seconds, so it actually increases the speed that you move as well, which is great. That is definitely something that is worth checking out if you haven't already done it. And then we use Reviving Barrier. I took this morph because I felt it would have more utility, especially since my blue tree is designed for healing anyway. I felt it would have more utility in instances where we were pushing Ethereal Archive hard mode scores, and we were doing a stack and burn strat. The video is up on YouTube. You can go ahead and check out the full run there. It is sped up, but you can see how we did all the ad pulls. You can see how we did all the boss fights, and you can see the barrier rotation there on first boss. But so yeah, this definitely helps. Provides a small heal to your group, and yeah, it's just a nice utility. I like it better than what is it? Magma Shell. I like it better than that. Although Magma Shell does limit the incoming damage to 3% of your max health, which is kind of nice. Magma Shell is a good oh shit button if you need it. I don't find myself needing it. I'll just put it like that. You could probably Magma Shell, let's say on Kind's Aegis, when you run into, I think it's the Blood Knight? It's the one ad that like will one-shot you through block. You can pop Magma Shell and you might be able to live through it. It's possible. So, yeah. Anyway, so those are the skills. The passives, you're gonna want all the passives in your class tree. You're gonna want all the passives in One-Handed Shield. You're gonna want a Gap Closer and Absorb Missile, typically. Gap Closer for VHOF if you're going to do the old strat where you tank in the middle and the boss uppercuts you. You can run a Gap Closer and you can kind of mitigate the jump that way. For Destruction Tree, you're going to want level 50 Destruction Staff there. You could run Destro Ulti if you wanted to. That'd be fine. For a little extra DPS in certain instances, that'd be fine. I'm not really spec'd out for damage though, but that would be something you could do if you wanted to. You're going to want the Tri-Focus for the Frost Heavies. You're going to want the Elemental Force, and then you're also going to want Ancient Knowledge for the reduction of block with the Frost Staff, which is amazing, trust me. Resto Staff, you can take Resto Staff if you want to. That's just a PvP thing for me. So as far as heavy armor, you want all the passives. You can take passives in medium armor if you want. I don't see a point for stamina recovery, to be honest, because you're blocking, so it doesn't make sense to me. Fighters Guild, Circular Protection. You're going to want Banish the Wicked. You don't need Slayer, but Banish the Wicked is like super important. Mage's Guild, just take balance. It's fine. Then Mage Adept, Everlasting Magic, and Magic Controller. Psijic Order, get that to 10, or buy it in the Crown Store, whatever. Take Meditate, and then take Clairvoyance, Concentrated Barrier, Deliberation. Undaunted, you want Sanguine Altar, you want to take the web thing just in case spiders come back. Or, not spiders, sorry, Stam comes back. Inner Rage, you want that morph from Inner Fire to Inner Rage. Don't take the Stam morph, it sucks. Necrotic Orb, try to get that leveled up. You can make a Healing Orb, and then you could do your Undaunted. Assault, Aggressive, Warhorn, Rapids, Echoing Vigor, and if you can, morph Caltrops to Razor Caltrops. Support, Reviving Barrier, as I said. Take Purge, morph that to Efficient Purge. I haven't done that yet. And then Stalwart Guard is a good one. I'm a Nord, so we have all the passes in the Nord tree. Nord is really great because of this. Rugged, increases your physical and spell resistance by 3960. Also, this is an amazing passive, and so isn't this. Cold resistance by 2310. That's really, really great. You gain immunity to chilled. So honestly, being a Nord is great, and you can go try this particular thing out in like VSS Ice hard mode, and also when you're ranging the boss, and also you can try this out in Fanglayer hard mode as well, because the Fanglayer boss does a lot of frost, like ice damage to you, so it's really good. Alchemy 50, take it and get all of the passives. You don't need Snake Blood, but take all the passives here. And then whatever. You don't really need all this stuff. You just have one crafter, it's fine. You can have all this stuff. So we've gotten rid of the skills now. So skills are done. Let's go to champion points and we'll be done with the build here. So Green Tree. This is kind of what I like to run. I don't really change this very often. So I got Warlord, reduces cost to break free. The reason why I like that is because I get CC'd a lot. I don't block a whole lot as a tank. I probably should more, but I don't. And sometimes I get heavied, and the heavy will knock me back, and I can break free instantly and get right back into the fight with the boss moving very minimally. So that's good. Sprinter, it's good for when you're trying to push score and you're trying to get to one place faster than the DPS. That doesn't typically happen. I have DPS that moves super fast for whatever reason. But Tenacity, I rely on heavy attacks more than I rely on anything else, like Arcanist. Or I don't put anything into Arcanist because I run balance in this tank. So, and then we have 56 Tumbling, which is good because I do a lot of roll dodging. Honestly, I roll dodge more than I block. You'll probably see that if you watch my my tanky POVs. And then Shadow Ward, reduced cost of block by 23%. You want that. You definitely want that. Even if you're running Sturdy, you still want that. You'll get diminishing returns, but it's still going to be really good. Blue Tree, got 100 into Blessed. 76 into Elfborn for the critical healing with magic ability, so that affects your Green Dragon's Blood. And then Flame, Frost, Shock, and Magic damage, 44, because why not? And then we got 10 into physical weapons, so that ups your DPS as your light attack weaving with your sword. And then Precise Strikes. Now this is great if you're running Vigor, or you're running Circle of Protection, the morph that heals you, or one of the morphs. Any morph, I think. Not turn on to the other one. That's one I like. So yeah, this is really, really good. You need points into this, I would say. And then, so Red Tree, this doesn't change a whole lot. Sometimes it does. I think I'm spec'd out currently for Kind's Aegis. So, it's 81 Iron, 56 Thick, 49 Hardy, 64 Elemental, and then 29 into Quick Recovery with 1 into Heavy Armor. Now that is a pretty, I mean, it's honestly, you don't really need to change that a whole lot. Sometimes you do, but most of the time, like this, the Red Tree can stay pretty generic, and you're usually okay. So yeah, let's go into the character sheet here. So I'm actually rocking a title. So I'm running what is it? Sugar Skulls. So Sugar Skulls increases max health, stamina, and magicka, and it also gives you almost 400 health recovery, which is really nice, honestly. Like, your recovery gets cut down, I believe, in half during an actual encounter, when you're not just free roaming. But to be honest, that's fine. You kind of need that. I do swap this out from time to time. The Lord is kind of what my generic setup is, but you can also run the Steed, you can run the Atronach, you can run so many different types of Munduses. It's like, I stick with the Lord for the most part because I run balance, but I mean, you can play around with this. This is okay to play around with. Alright, so let's go right into the gear. Just real quick, I'm not going to explain why I use it, but this is the gear that I run. So I have the Sword of Alkosh with the weapon, the weakening enchantment. So this weakens attacks by bosses and adds. You want to definitely use this as much as possible, just light attack. A sturdy Shield of Alkosh. I run an Ice Staff of Alkosh with a Crusher enchantment. Crusher will proc 4 times on the first ad it hits with the blockade. It doesn't proc on everything, but it does proc on the first ad it hits 4 times. So after the 4th time, you want to make sure you reapply. So my monster set is Engine Guardian's Vicious. This was buffed, believe it or not. It looks like it was nerfed, but it was actually buffed. So you can get this thing to pretty much 100% uptime if you're casting lots of abilities, which is really, really nice. I would definitely recommend getting the Engine Guardian if you don't have it already, and using it. Use it as a tank. I'm telling you right now, I use it on all my tanks and I love it. Other sets to consider: Earthgore, Stonekeeper, Symphony of Blades, Thervikin, and Lord Warden. So yeah, I'm running Perfected Yalnakrin for the 5th piece, which is Minor Courage, 15 seconds. So this with Olo buffs up the group DPS quite a bit. And then my traits and enchantments on my Alkosh is Harmony trait, and enchantment is Alchemical Acceleration. This makes it so my sustain is amazing. You definitely want it. Another set that I run is in Kind's Age especially is Plague Doctor with Perfected Yalnakrin, and I have my off tank do the debuffing with Alkosh to everything with Defiled and Alkosh, and then I run Plague Doctor Yalnakrin, and it works out really well. So anyway, that is my DK build. If you do have any questions, or if you have anything to add on to this build, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say, and I will respond as soon as I see it. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.